Hi guys, I thought I'd do a quick walkthrough of the procedural walkway that I just wrapped up. So we have this as an assembly, so we just drag it in, drag and drop, and it comes in like so. The original idea for this was that it was just going to take 2 points and create a walkway between them. And I just wound up building the locators into the assembly itself. So the priority for this, I should probably explain first. Um, Working on the Piranesi Carcieri kit, there's something like 23 walkways that appear all over those etchings in different ways, in different formats. And they have, some of them are a little bit ragged at the edges. Some of them have little supports that come off of them. Some of them have railings. You can see the little supports over here. Those are probably stairs, but it still kind of looks somewhat close, so why not make it be able to do that too? So if we're going to do it once, we might as well do it or if we're going to do it 23 times, we might as well do it once and just build all the functionality in so it's one whole procedural mess. Would I do it the same way again next time? I don't know. It was definitely a learning process. So all the controls live under one locator, and we can start with really like the most stripped down version of it. Turn off all of those guys. And you can see the little random nails that are used to spiky in. I left those in just to let it be aggressive, give it an aggressive look. I don't know if that was a good design choice or not. I should probably take that randomness and put it into another function, but you'll see for how many functions I included into this thing, I'm a little burnt out on it and I need to walk away from it and put it down for now and move on. So anyways, starting at the top, real basic, we just get the plank width, the width of the walkway, no real big deal. And the plank length, as we start to maybe make them smaller, longer, whatever they are, and the actual thickness of the walkway planks. That's all the basic stuff. The jittering, we built in a lot of jittering. So we can jitter the length and jitter a little bit of the rotation. So if you want something more organic looking, and jittering the base length, and then an extra little bit to jitter the ends and really get it warped and crazy looking if you're looking for something like that. And then changing up the seed, and then deleting random planks. I think this one is tied into a Steve Hill Selma kit, so shout out to Steve Hill for making awesome kits. And then adjusting a little bit of a plank chamfer. Set all of those back to 0. The stringers and the joists here. Joists are the guys who go the lateral way. The stringers are the guys who go the long way. Added in an extra one. You can turn it off and on depending on how wide this thing gets. That might make sense. You can adjust the width of the stringers, their height, depth. You see how the joist responds to how tall those are. And there's a little bit of an offset so they're not flush and you're not getting Z fighting. That doesn't do anything. That's slightly embarrassing. And the stringer offset, we can pull that in and out and make it a little bit more narrow as we want to. And you see how the nails carry with, so those guys are all responding to each other. That's nice. Railings, if you want to turn railings on for one side or the other, like if this thing abuts up against a wall, or if it's a freestanding, you know, going across a gap or a canyon, you can have both of the railings on, or just turn both of them off and live dangerously. Nothing too crazy with him, just, you know, railing length, the height, if you want to play with those, the handrail width, if you want to get that to just sort of splay out over, the thickness. Alright, so that only is affecting that and not the other one. So it looks like I've got some updating to go do, but this is healthy. This is how we find bugs and record them at the same time. Built in a little rando rotate, so if you want to get a more organic look to everything, that you want to have a more chaotic looking walkway and it's not just a purely industrial thing, this is kind of fun. And a rando seed, so if you want to just keep doing variations, you can scroll through the seed on that. And the delete random, if you really want to start to add more decay in, that's fun. And set that back to normal. So the supports, this was a giant pain, and I learned a ton making these. So if you want to have supports at one end or the other, and they will go flush up against whatever wall that this thing is built into, all of that stuff is there. What else? The Y offset. So if you want that to start higher or lower, and that'll affect both ends or either end as you want it to. The start, if you wanted to just, you know, however bridges work, you can play engineer for a minute and have those supports, the supports start, you know, further in, further out. And what happens with those, because it's really just, it's bridging between two planes. One plane is on the wall and the other plane is on the walkway. As those things move around, I didn't know if this was going to be a cool effect or not, but to have the length of the plane that's at the walkway versus the length of the plane on the wall, you can make those thicker and make it a little more stylized. And you can also adjust the length of the plane at the wall end to get a bit more robust looking support. I mean, this is 32 inches right now. I don't know if you guys can read it on whatever screen you're looking at. But all this stuff is built to scale to imperial, metric system. This is what we're working with. So on top of that, we have a couple different types of added supports with some more crazy looking nails. attached into it. So let's just say this thing gets really long. This is the other kind of cool thing about this is if there's an angle to it, they're still oriented to stay flush to the wall. So let's just say that we'll move that guy down there, move that guy down there. There is a little bit of flicker. I don't know if there's, I haven't really figured out a very good way of dealing with that. There it goes, and it just pops back into place. It's just, for whatever reason, I don't think it's an orientation thing or a constraint thing that should be constraint. I think it's a curve sweep thing for all the Modo nerds out there. It's a curve sweep thing. I think I reported that one. Just throwing that out there. All right. So yeah, if this thing gets way too long and you want to have supports, there's these X supports, X bars, or if you want to have something simpler like an H bar. I probably could add in some functionality to duplicate more of these, or to take the position of the constraints for the X bars and move them up and down to make them slide. Yeah, I think I tried to do that at one point, but that just wasn't, not really in the works. And then to turn these guys off, there's lateral supports. So if you really do put this up against a wall and turn off that railing, now we've got a nice little plank walkway that'll go right up against a wall. So yeah, that is or show the other side. If you leave both of them on, there'll be a little intersection. Could probably build in more functionality to have an offset or to have some kind of brace, an extra detail added on if you wanted to have you know, that kind of a walkway. There's so many things you can do with the procedural stuff that it keeps piling on and on and on, and you, at least in my case, I need to put it down and move on to the next phase of the project. But just to give you a sense of what this graph looks like, it's insane. This went nuts. I mean, you can see where everything comes from this one controller. I don't know. I keep doing this thing where I add everything into one controller and it becomes this giant. I need to start breaking this up, but you know, there's a learning curve, a learning process. We live and learn, figure more stuff out. Yeah, giant network mess just to be able to get the assembly to work. But there it is now. It's like 1,000 different the one walkway to rule them all. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to add to this. No, I think we're good for now. I think we're good. That's what I was going to say. Smash that like button and subscribe.